And welcome once again, dear friends, to another edition of Fresh Bread. This is Reverend Phil Anderson, pastor of Oakland United Methodist Church and Kansas Avenue United Methodist Church here in the capital city of Topeka, Kansas. And I'm so grateful that you have decided to take a few minutes out of your schedule today to be with me as we will again look into some of God's Word, the Bible, and I thank God that we have these opportunities to come together on this online platform. Once again, I want to thank Tom Lynn from Kansas Avenue United Methodist Church for posting these at the website kaumc.church. So today we'll continue our look at the 15th chapter of Romans. We were talking about how the idea of patience is one that we really need to focus on. And we know that God is pleased when we demonstrate that patience because it's one of the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. So, do you ever get to a point where you find yourself right in the middle of something? You go, why am I wasting my energy? It's almost like you step out of your body and you go, why am I wasting my energy on this? It's not worth it. It's either an argument, or I've lost my patience, or I've just gotten sucked into a comment I shouldn't have made. I find myself doing that fairly often. Not as much maybe as I used to, but I almost have to program my mind ahead of time. I'm not going to say anything in this situation. I'm just not going to do it. And maybe I'll be a sounding board for someone. Maybe they can express to me things maybe I would radically disagree with, but maybe for them, it's something that makes perfect sense. And so being aware of your words, and for me, being conscious of what I say, how I say it. Don't just blurt out things when you feel like it. I'm talking to myself more than anybody here, but really think it through. Sometimes there are things that appear to be almost a crisis, and then you realize 5, 6, 7 days later, it's no big deal. And so being patient through it all, not getting sucked into discussions that lead nowhere other than maybe an argument. I'll be honest with you, I don't like arguments. Some people, maybe they thrive on arguing with people or really getting into deep discussions where there's big differences being discussed. I'd rather just kind of have a little peaceful time with people, and it doesn't mean we can't discuss things. I'd love to hear what other people think. I don't have to agree with them either, by the way. But by not agreeing, it certainly doesn't mean we have to get into an argument. And again, my brother told me this years ago. My brother PJ was in Topeka, and he had this rule that he said he tries to follow. And that is when he speaks, or I should say when someone speaks to him, he tries to give 3 seconds before he says anything. I think that's a great rule. People talk about the 5-second rule when they drop a piece of food on the floor and they have 5 seconds or whatever it is to pick it up and eat it. Well, maybe we should do the same thing with our comments and our words. We should give at least 3 seconds after a person says something to talk. The other thing is, have you ever noticed when you get in a conversation with somebody, you have this gap, and then you start saying, as soon as you start talking, they're going to override you and they're going to talk. It's almost like they just waited for you to say something till they could jump in on top of what you were saying. They're not going to stop either. And then they're done. So then another gap, and you go, okay, maybe now I can say something. And you start talking again, and they come right in on top of you and cut you off again. I've had that happen a number of times with different people. They may not even been aware they were doing it. No big deal. But when you realize the satisfaction, I think, that we can all get from learning how to control our tongue, then we're putting ourselves in a position where we then get to have the satisfaction of learning how to be patient. And we realize that we have grown. It may have taken us a long time to get there. You know, we plant a seed, it doesn't sprout up overnight a lot of times. It may take a while. But the virtue of patience is, again, one of the fruits of the Spirit that Christ wants us to have. So we speak softly and we listen carefully and we put other people first. We're a servant. When we do speak, we do it respectfully, calmly, kindly, with a pleasant tone of voice, and where we respect those who are listening to us. That's, I believe, a way that patience is demonstrated, as opposed to being impatient and frustrated and angry. So I pray that God will help each of us learn some of the finer points of being patient, not trying to overdo things, not biting off more than we can chew, not trying to see how much stuff we can get done in a day, but just to be calm, collected, being a good listener, edifying other people, building them up, getting out of what's in it for me to what can we do for others. That's spiritual maturity. It's the direction we should all be headed. Well, friends, again, I thank you for joining me today on Fresh Bread. We hope to see you back tomorrow for our weekend edition on Saturday, April the 24th year of 2021. Until then, may God richly bless you is my prayer. Thanks again for joining me, and have a great Friday.